is either takeout, you can sit down now, KB. Visiting has progressed tremendously in all of these areas. And some of this research is certainly based upon the 5 areas. It's going to be based upon the Center for Exhibition Industry Research, which is our foundation for IAEE, as well as our own association experiences at IAEE. Infrastructure. I'm going to go through these very quickly. Are you working on upgrading and expanding? Are you future ready? Obviously, what we heard about the venue in New Delhi is fascinating, how we saw the 10 or 12-minute video, looking at what they're doing today, looking at what is going to happen to change the traffic patterns and the infrastructure around that destination. Because think of venues and exhibition halls, they are destinations unto themselves. If you think about all the new venues that are built around the world, and I've been to many of them in the last 6 years of my job, they are changing the landscape. They are changing the destination. And it's really important that that's understood as part of the infrastructure conversation. Scalable, multi-purpose. KV told us today that they're building an extension to this facility that's going to be multi-purpose. You're going to be able to do weddings in there, I'm sure. You're going to be able to do meetings and conferences and trade shows. You'll probably be able to do sports tournaments in this space, as well as a venue like this. This is multi-purpose. You must be able to do that. Visitor focus, which I'll touch on more in a moment. And certainly to have a world-class destination, and I've had the pleasure of doing 2 things. I was a hotel sales and marketing person at the first part of my career. And before I came to IAEE, I was a president and CEO of a convention and visitors bureau in a wonderful city called Fort Worth, Texas, where I was in charge of making sure that we sold and marketed to meetings, convention, and tourism. Equally as important was what we did with developing the destination, working with the Chamber of Commerce, the mayor, and the city council and government. Speaking of government, do you have favorable industrial policy? We've heard some great comments and some very good enthusiasm from the scope of the government officials this morning, talking about ITP, what ITPO is doing across all of India. Very, very important. Encourage at least a 10% FDI or foreign direct investment. Ease foreign exhibitor and attendee participation. And we also heard a question from the audience earlier this morning about visas and the need for ease in conference visas. When I first came to India 5 years ago, it was difficult. I was able to get it. It took me several months. But once it got better, the process got better, I was encouraged to get a 5-year visa. So KV, Ravi, I've got a 5-year visa, so you're stuck with me for at least a few more years. Make it easy for us to come to your country. Make it easy for us to be welcome, because I tell you, that's not a problem with the culture and the hospitality that you extend here in India. Education and training, I can tell you, you've done a yeoman's job. Once again, my perspective is the last 5 years. You've done a yeoman's job in this area. In a few minutes, we're about to celebrate and congratulate some ladies and gentlemen who have gone through the Certified in Exhibition Management program. Your association, IEIA, took a leap of faith in the relationship that I presented to your board of directors a couple years ago, as KB would remember, and we had some long conversations about what a certification program is going to do to help develop the future staff, the current staff, and the future staff coming out of university, hotel, hospitality, and events programs, or just marketing programs, and what we can do to take those ladies and gentlemen to their next level, and we're going to celebrate that in a few minutes as well. So the educational opportunities that IEIA presents, and certainly the CEM program that's available, as well as all of the other opportunities that our friends at UFI and the other organizations, IELA, et cetera, do, especially in this region, that are also available for the meetings and exhibitions industry executives in India to go elsewhere if you need to be, whether it's Thailand, whether it's Singapore. Of course, I get in trouble for leaving off a certain country. But the focus that you all have on workforce development is very, very positive to, once again, be one of the 5 things that are important for you to become a better destination, whether it's a city, whether it's one of your states, or whether it's all of India. Technology, we talked about that a lot today, and certainly what was brought up earlier about the fact that there was a concern that technology and the internet was going to replace meetings, conventions, and trade shows. I remember when I was hotel sales manager in the early 80s, and the internet came out, and everybody was talking about video conferencing and how it's going to hurt the business, except for a little slump that we had in the late 80s. I think the global economy has continued to grow at a 2 to 3 to 4%, in your case, almost 10% growth here in India in the meetings and exhibitions industry. But the investment in technology is critical. You must look at what you're doing today and look at the trends in your facilities, in a facility like this, in a facility in any of the buildings that you do business in. If you're a customer, ask the tough questions. What's your bandwidth? What's your Wi-Fi capacity? You're sitting in this room right now, and are you able to have good, speedy access through the Wi-Fi system? And by the way, I'm sure, KV, that there's capital expenditures that are always looked at every year on how you're going to expand that, how you're going to spend more money, how you're going to create a better technology-enabling environment. Because what you're sitting in today is no different than what has to happen at a university level. You're in a classroom. We are in a classroom. You have to have technology capabilities to enhance the experience that's available for all attendees, and you as a show organizer, for everything that happens in the show next door, you have to be able to have access to the internet and be able to apply all of the new trends that are happening. And certainly, last but not least, customer focus. Ask yourself this question: how many of you have done a competitive analysis in the last 12 to 18 months in your company? I can't see you, so I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands. But ask yourself that question. If you haven't looked at the competitive set that you've identified in your business and marketing plans, please do that. Dust that off. Take a look at what they're doing. Are they doing something better than you? Hopefully not. But if they're doing something better than you, what can you do to differentiate? Keyword that I focus on almost every day in my life with my own staff. How are we going to be different and better, and by differentiating what we offer in the marketplace? So what are you doing that in your own companies, whether you're a show organizer or supplier to our industry? Adopt new sales and marketing techniques. How much money are you spending in the social media database management area? What are you doing to make sure that all of the protections that must go in play for personal information, especially with GDPR and what our friends in Canada did, Mark, a couple years ago. The United States is looking at it right now. I bet you by the end of the year we'll come out with some sort of privacy issues as well. So how do you develop that sort of compass of making sure that your customers are the most important people that's come into your building or that you service as a company on a daily basis? And my last thought is, and you're getting there, is as a company, you have a brand. As a country, you have a brand. In India, it's Make in India. So I encourage you as an Indian exhibition industry to come up, KV, with some branding. Maybe it's led by IEIA, and I'd be happy to brainstorm that with you. You have a lot of really smart marketing people in the room. Okay? Exhibit in India. Something that simple. And then put some resources behind it. Go and be a major sponsor at UFI, at CISO, at IAEE, and other organizations that you identify are really important for you to drive new business. Because guess what? As you develop and grow the infrastructure and the capability of what's happening here in India, you need more business. Because the old saying, build it, they will come, is not true. I've been in sales and marketing all my life. So I encourage you to try to figure out, and maybe it's a challenge for the next several months as a board of directors of IEIA, fed by all of you as members, come up with a brand for yourself. Whether it's Exhibit in India, very bold. Whether it's, Explore India, the exhibition industry, whatever it may be. So I'll leave you with that thought. I look forward to in a few moments, celebrating with our CEM graduates. But I'll be around all day tomorrow and this evening. If you have any questions of me, it'd be my pleasure to answer them for you. Once again, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dubois. And I'm going to request Mr. Sudeep Sarkar, Honorary Treasurer, IEIA, and VP, India Expo Mart, to please kindly come up on stage and give away a memento as our, as a token of our appreciation, our gratitude to Mr. Dubois.
I hope it's a box of chocolates, huh? Anybody hungry?
I'm requesting Mr. Bhupinder Singh to do the honors. Sorry about that, sir. Thank you for that really, really fantastic talk, Mr. Dubois. Much learned. Thank you.